Hello everybody, welcome you all. In the previous lecture we have talked about the basic history, basic introduction and history of the digital electronics, and in this lecture we will directly go to our topic, logic gates. So what are logic gates? We will first see. So suppose we have a logic gate. So this is nothing but basic circuit of digital electronics. So this is nothing but a basic circuit of digital electronics, and the second point I will write is these are generally made up of transistors and diodes, all those things. So these are made up of transistors, diodes, etc. So actually transistors are enough nowadays, because diodes itself we are making by using our transistors. Even registers that we are making today are nothing but using transistors only, and even sometimes sources. The sources you are seeing, current sources, all those things are nothing but made up of nothing but transistors. This you will learn in the higher courses, that transistors are enough to build anything in the digital electronics. We are making nowadays everything using transistors only, diodes or whatever electronic devices you have ever learned, diodes, capacitance, everything we are making using transistors only. But for time being, I can write this. After that, before jumping directly to the types of logic gate, I want to define few terms for you. So first term I want to define is fan-in. So what is fan-in? Fan-in is nothing but the number of inputs. So fan-in is nothing but number of inputs of a gate. So if any gate has n number of inputs, so it has n fan-in. It's such so simple. Now the second term is fan out. Now fan out, you can't just directly say it is a number of outputs, because most of the gate has just only one output. So the output is one, but fan out is defined as number of copies of gates it can drive. So why I am writing number of copies of gates? Suppose I have a gate. So there are multiple gates after it. Suppose this gate. There are multiple gates, and the same gate is driving the multiple gates. Then it will have the fan out of these number of gates. Suppose we have 1, 2, n. So it has n fan out. But the most important condition is this gate should be same as this gate. These all gates should be same as this gate. So I have written number of copies. So you must give some emphasis on this, that the gate should be similar size, similar characteristics, everything should be same. Then only we can define the fan out of any gate. Okay. So after that, there are more few terms like positive logic and negative logic. So we will see that also. So suppose we have positive logic. So generally, for those who have studied digital electronics, we are generally using positive logic, but there are some also applications we use negative. But first of all, we will see what is positive logic. In this logic, we generally define our higher voltage as logic high and lower voltage as logic low. Means logic 1 or logic low means logic 0. Logic high is similar to logic 1 and logic low is similar to logic 0. So for example, if I have a voltage of 0 volt and then 5 volt, then I will assign 0 volt as logic 0 and 5 volt as logic 1 because 5 volt is higher than 0 volt. So this is nothing but your positive logic nomenclature. Again I am taking another example. Suppose I have a 0 volt and then after that I have minus 5 volt. Then what will be the logic 0 and what will be the logic 1? So here, which is the higher number? 0 of course. So this will be now our logic 1 and the lower voltage will be our logic 0 according to this positive logic. Okay. Now similar to this we have negative logic also. So in negative logic, vice versa, lower voltage we define as logic high and higher voltage we define as logic low. Yes, just opposite to that, nothing else. So now again, taking those examples again, so we have a 0 volt and we have a 5 volt. Now what we have to do? Lower voltage, logic high. So our lower voltage is 0 volt. So this is nothing but logic 1, this is nothing but logic 0. Again, for the second example, 0 volt and then minus 5 volt. So 0 volt is now our higher voltage. So higher voltage we will be having logic 0 and lower voltage logic 1. It's that simple and nothing, no rocket science. But it is very important to understand. No confusion you should have after that. Okay. Now we can start our gates. So generally we have 7 types of gates. Okay. So not, and, or, after that we have NAND, NOR, and then XOR, that is also called XOR gate for some courses, and XNOR gate. So these are 7 types of it, but we can also classify these gates in 3 types. The first 3 we can classify it as fundamental gates and also called basic gates. Basic gates, fundamental gates and basic gates. Second, NAND and NOR we can define it as universal gates. We will see one by one the definition. And XOR and XNOR we can define as derived gates. Okay. Now I will rub and then we will see one by one what are these things. So first one, fundamental or basic gates. So what are fundamental and basic gates? Why these three are called fundamental and basic gates? Because we can derive any logic functions using these three gates. So can derive any logic function using these, or rather I should write using combination of these three gates. And what are those three gates? Again, not and or. So clear? Now second one is here universal gates. These are NAND and NOR. So universal gates means we can derive any logic function using either of the gates only. What's the meaning? Means we can design any logic function by using just either NAND or just a NOR gate. By using a NAND gate, you can design anything in this world. Just using NAND gates and attaching all over the NAND gates in the design, you can derive anything in this universe. So that's why these are called universal gates. Or you can also design the same circuit by using your NOR gate only. No need to combine both the gates. So that's why these are called universal gates, because they are itself capable of designing anything. And third one is derived gates, use XOR or XNOR. Why they are called derived gates? Because they are derived either from basic gates or from fundamental gates. Sorry, fundamental and basic both are actually the same, or from universal gates. So we can't have directly a XOR gate or XNOR gate. We have to derive these gates by using either NAND or these are universal gates, so you can design anything, and fundamental gates. But the difference between fundamental gates and universal gates is that here you can design anything, but you have to combine these three gates. But here you don't have to combine anything. You just can take either NAND gate or NOR gate and design anything. So this is the beauty of your NAND and NOR gate, and that's why it's very, very important. I will mark here a star. These two are very, very important, and you have to learn how to design anything by using either NAND gate or NOR gate. So you will need some kind of Boolean algebra and K-map functions for this. Generally we use Boolean algebra, but after lots of practice you can easily derive this circuit, how to design with NAND gate or NOR gate. You can easily do these things after lots of practice. Okay. So the next thing, that if you will start with our first gate, that is nothing but a NOT gate. So starting with our first gate, that is NOT gate. So NOT gate, first we will draw the symbol. This is nothing but a NOT gate. It is similar looking like a diode, but diode has this and inverter has a bubble up. So if we have input X, then Y is equal to X bar, and bar means inverted output. So how can we write the truth table of it? So we have one input, so only two combinations, 0 and 1, and output will be for 0 1 and for 1 0. Now for next thing what I will do is to derive a switching circuit of inverter. How will the switching circuit of inverter looks like? So suppose we have a power supply and then we have a switch. And then we have what you can say a bulb. Okay, so we have a power supply and we have a switch like this in the parallel, and then we have a bulb that we want to glow. So we will first define some things for this switching circuit. Suppose this is our switch. So for switch, what I will define, if S is closed, then it is acting as logic 1. If S is open, then it is acting as logic 0. So these two terms I have defined for our switch. Again, for our bulb, what I will define, if glowing or on, it is defined as logic 1, and if it is not glowing or off, it is defined as logic 0. So we have defined everything and we have seen we will see now that how this circuit will work. So we will again draw the truth table. So switch and bulb. Suppose switch is 0. 0 means open. So if the switch is open, now then my current will flow through this because this is open, and the bulb will glow. So bulb will glow and this is open. Now again, if my switch is closed, then what will happen? This will be acting as a short circuit. Then the whole current will flow to this part and the bulb will be off. So in this simple way, we can derive our NOT gate. That's why it's also called inverter. So it's also called inverter. It's inverting our input at the output. So this is the basic thing. And then I have told you earlier that I will not go into the circuit, but let's see some basic thing about this circuit. What can be inside the circuit? I am not telling you the exact, but some idea that what is generally inside. Suppose you might have learned about transistors, but not you will learn in other courses. But for those who know something about transistors, I have drawn a simple transistor with a output from collector, and this is your base, this is a meter and input. So what do you think is going to happen? Suppose I have biased my transistor in such a way that when I give the input, the transistor goes into saturation. So in this one thing you keep in mind, that transistors have 3 regions of operation, generally 4, but right now we'll stuck to 3, that cutoff, saturation and the forward active region. There is some other reverse active region also, but we will leave that. So in this we only operate our transistor in either either saturation or cutoff. So cutoff or saturation. So if input has 1, the transistor will go into saturation, and saturation means a short circuit. So what will happen? This output will be just grounded. So output will be 0. And if the input is 0, then what will happen? The transistor will be cut off because there is no base current. So in cutoff, this will be open and this output will be directly seen. We will directly see the VCC. So the output will be 1. Okay, so this is the simple logic of how we can design a NOT gate. So, but we will leave it here, and now moving further ahead, now we will see something else that is called as propagation delay. So what is propagation delay is, it is the time taken by the gate to display output after any input is given. So propagation delay, propagation delay, generally denoted by small t and t. Time, t denotes time, and this is propagation time, that is propagation delay. So propagation delay means, if I am giving any input, the output will come after what time? So output will come after propagation delay time. And why the gate has some propagation delay? We have circuit, we will understand by this only. Generally our output, we have a capacitor, load capacitor here, generally at output. And you will learn in another courses that how, from where it has come and all those stuffs. You will learn it very clearly from where these capacitances, but it is always there. Keep in mind, it is always there because you have some circuit ahead. You will not use inverter in your circuit. You will not just use inverter. You will use it just as intermediate gate, and then there will be lot more thing after that. So there is a capacitor. So while charging this capacitor, you will need some time, that is called charging time. So this is nothing but the for 1 you will have, for output coming to 1, you will have to wait for the charging time of the capacitor. Similarly for 0, the capacitor has to discharge from here. So it will also take some time. So in this way you can understand what is the reason of this propagation delay. But right now, leaving those stuffs, we will directly see what I can do with the propagation delay. First, I have to write the definition: time taken by output to change when any input any input is applied. Okay, so now after all this knowledge, let's start with our first example. So I have an inverter, and I have just joined these two things. This is our input, this is our output, and at input I am providing one signal that is just like this, and the width is TP. that is nothing but the propagation delay of this inverter. So propagation delay of the gate is Tp, signal rate is also Tp. So you have to find output waveform for given input. So what will be the output waveform you have to find? So let's see. So here what I have done, I will do small, make small, so that you will not confuse. So this signal is very small, and the main purpose is just to trigger this circuit and then get back. Okay, so what this signal will do is it will trigger the circuit. So initially you can see it is 0. So I will draw the output. So this is the input. Sorry, I will draw it again. So suppose this is our input. This is Tp time, and I am drawing my output here. So this is 0 suppose. So this will be 1, and after Tp time the output will be 0. Okay? Yes. So we have drawn this. This is Tp time delay. Why after Tp time? Because this gate has a propagation delay of Tp. So here I have given 1, but it will reflect the effect that it has to go to 0 after Tp delay, and then it will be 0 for Tp. And what will happen after that? Now I have removed my signal. So here what I have 0 initially. So this 0 will be at input now. It is a feedback. So now here I have 0, and then after Tp time what will be the output? It will be 1. Again this 1 will come back, and then it will again invert the output to 0. So this circuit will toggle like this. Sorry. This circuit will toggle. And what will be the time period? For Tp time it is off, and for Tp time it is on. Off on means it is logic high and logic low, nothing to confuse here. So time period will be Tp plus Tp is equal to 2Tp. So what will be the frequency of this waveform? 1/2Tp. And this is nothing but a square wave. Okay? So I hope you understood this. So if not, we will take some another example and we will try to gain the concept again. So the next example, now this again same signal, small triggering, very small triggering input and output. Now again with the same logic, initially it is 0, so it will be 1, and directly look the output now, so it will be 1. Again it is 1 for Tp time. Okay, then the output will be 0 here after Tp, then 1 year after TP again, and 0 year after TP again. So now our propagations delay will add and affect the output delay. So this will be now 0, and then it will be 0 for now 3 TP. Okay, now we have removed this signal. Yes, because it is just up to this. Then this output 0 will again come here, and then it will make our output 1. Yes, because 0, 1, 1 to 0, and again 0 to 1, and again after 3 TP. So similarly the circuit will be like this continuously, and again this will be again 3 TP. This is 3 TP. So what is the time period? 1 upon 3 TP plus 3 TP, that is 1 upon 6 TP. Okay, sorry, this is not the time period. Actually I have written the frequency. So the time period will be just addition of these times. So 3 plus 3 is equal to 6 TP. And what will be the frequency? 1 upon 6 TP. So you can see whenever I connect the inverters in this fashion, then the frequency, then the output is something like a square wave or a stable multivibrator output, and the frequency is just 2 times the propagation delay of the whole inverter design. Because there are 3, so it's 6. So again, next example. This is applied to, we are now just trying to generalize the thing, so that we don't have to equate those things in a minute manner. If we generalize the thing, it will be helpful for us in the later stages. We can do it very quickly. So now I will take something like this. Input, output, and here it is the same topic like this. Okay, so now can I say frequency, again we will get a square wave like this, and frequency will be 1 upon 4 tau TP, because there are 2 NOT gates of TP. Yes, seems correct, but not. Why? Because we have 2 inverters. So we will see. If we have 0 here, then here we will get 1, and then here we will get 0. 0 will again come to feedback. 0, 1, 0, 0, 1. So this circuit is not toggling. This circuit is just stable at one point. So here I will not get a square. I will just get this. If this is 1 for some time, I will only get the logic 1 at output. So we can generalize. This is acting as a bistable multivibrator. What meaning of bistable multivibrator means? If we apply 0, then the output is at 0. But it is stable, it's not toggling. If you apply 1, the output is stable at 1. So both the states 0 and 1 are stable. So this is a bistable multivibrator. If you don't know the concept of multivibrator, don't worry, you will learn in some analog courses. So no need to worry here. So I can generalize the things as, for odd numbers of inverters in feedback, for odd numbers of inverter in feedback, output is something like a stable multivibrator, or you can also say like ring oscillator, because ring oscillator also does the same thing. square wave generation. And frequency of square wave will be nothing but 1 upon 2NTP. So what is N here? N is nothing but odd number of inverters. N can't be even, because if N is even, then you will get this and not those two examples. So this is for 1. Again, second, for even numbers of inverters, yes, in feedback. Output is nothing but stable acting as bistable multivibrator. Okay, and I hope you are able to see this. Okay, so I think you have understood these things very clearly. So we will take another example for the same kind of circuit, and let's see if we have understood the concept or not. So another example, suppose I have something like this, and this time I am doing this. So if we have input and output, and again the input is like this, TP, again this I am making short. So find output waveform, and frequency if applicable, because for one case we are getting some frequency because it is applicable, for the second time we are not getting anything. So okay, let's try. I'm going to give you this as a homework. So what you do, you try to solve this after this completion of this video, and I will explain in this in the next video, so that you can match your answers and see how much you have understood. Okay, so now moving to the second gate. This is AND gate. So again the same things we will do. AND gate, first we have to do the switching circuit. So switching circuit, how it will be? This is V supply and this is our bulb. Okay, and this is, now we have two switches, S1 and S2. So let us define it as X, Y, or I will take something else, A, B, and bulb as output Y. And the sorry, it's not here, I have rubbed that. And the switches are similar, means for close it is 1, for open it is 0. So we will draw the truth table according to this, A, B and Y. These are our inputs because these are switches, and bulb is our output. So now two inputs, then we will have four combinations, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0 and 1, 1. So what will happen? 0, 0 means both the switches are now open. So what will happen? This bulb will not glow because the circuit is open. So output is 0. Now one switch is open and one switch is closed. So this is suppose open, this is closed. So again the current will not flow. So this is again 0. This is the same case. This is closed, this is open. So again 0. Now both the switches are closed, the current can pass and the bulb will glow. So this is our logic 1 here. Means it's glowing. So what I can say about the AND gate, if any of the inputs are 0, output is 0, or this is a very negative approach because I am talking about 0. For positive approach we can say if both the inputs are 1, output is 1. So we also have to remember the gates in these kinds of sentences. So we don't have to worry about truth table. If I know that if both the inputs are 1, then only we are getting output as 1. So we don't have to draw in this any further in our courses. So this is about AND gate. Now let's do one thing. Suppose I have multiple input AND gate. Okay, one thing I am following. This is the symbol of AND gate. This is A, B and Y. This is the symbol of AND gate. So, okay, directly take it as an example that make 3 input AND gate as a 2 input AND. So we have a 3 input AND gate now. A, B, C and this is Y, and I have to make a 2 input AND gate by using this. So okay, I have missed a lot of things here. Yes, I also to suppose equation. Yes, the equation is very important thing. So here what I can write, y is equal to a and b. This dot represents ANDing. This is not multiplication. You can't say multiplication because it's Boolean algebra and not your conventional mathematical algebra. So you must have to say AND, or you can also say A intersection B. Most of you have learned this in your statistics and probability theory subject, but this also applies here. If this is same as intersection. Okay, so these two are similar. So now coming back to our example. So you maybe have difficulty from seeing from here. So what I have to do? I have to make this 3 input AND gate as 2 inputs. So what I can do? So one thing I can do is, I know that if I want my output as 1, then I have to keep all my inputs as 1, because these switches will come in parallel. We will add a C switch also in this, series. And we will add this C switch also in series of this circuit. So this will be in series. So for this to be acting as a 2 input, this C must be short, isn't it? Here if I add a C circuit and make it short, then it's similar to this only. So what I will do, I will remove that C and make it as always logic 1. So this circuit will act as 2 input AND gate. Now we can again do one thing. We will make any 2 input short. So like this. So if we have A, and what I have done, B and C we have shorted, and it's acting as one single input, and this is our output Y. So this will be also acting as A and B, and this will be also acting as A and B. Okay. So so now there is also can we have a third approach to this? What if I make one input floating? Means I am not connected any either logic 1 or 0 to it. Okay? So this I will tell you that for TTL logic family, because these gates are from some kind of logic family development. So for TTL logic family, floating means one, and for ECL logic family, floating means 0. So can we do this anytime? No. If we have only TTL logic family, then only I can make it floating, because now this will act as 1. That is, it is acting as same circuit. So that's why for only TTL, make it floating. But we generally do not do this because these two are quite very stable. Due to floating input, what happens? There are some kind of noises that can affect our gate, and then the circuit characteristics may change. So that's why we will never use practically these kinds of circuit. Okay, so that's about AND gate. So further gates further gates like OR gate and NAND gate, other things we will see in the next lecture. Thank you.